then if that's how we're living, then surely he should face the consequences of his mouth and his jokes and the things that he puts out there as well. No.
To be fair, he did say he held it. He's not going to no Oprah and no girl. So he said, boy, I took it like Pacquiao. I'm saying, like I said before, where's the anger and outrage for 50? For like, I'm just saying, if it is a thing of like, we can't take comedians' jokes as well. And Chris Rock is not the worst. There's all kinds of comedians that say whatever about whoever, raggo, and people not running up on them and slapping them in the face. This year is the 50th year for hip hop. There's a lot of conversations that is going to be around hip hop, and Billboard has sparked a conversation. Busta Rhymes is number one, and Stella and I were agreeing.
Eminem, I was a big fan of when I was younger. Like, no, I'm saying as in Many Mel's is going to say that, right? Yeah, and it's because he has benefited from his whiteness. It's just a fact. He's such a dope artist, but he would never get to the realm of Eminem. Why? Because he's not white. That's the thing that we're talking about here. Greetings and welcome to the Out of Noise podcast with your host Stella B
and Nat Nye.
This is the podcast where we bring our peace
to the mic,
and we welcome you back frequently to tune into our frequency. We are the poets, people of extraterrestrial substance, and we are here every week to discuss what's going on in the world. So this is trending subjects this series. So what's been happening in the week?
So one day, a couple of days ago, we woke up and it was just like an explosion of different trending topics. That was just too interesting, too mouth-watering, too salacious for us not to get our teeth stuck in and talk about it. So basically, one of them, this happened almost a year ago. We had the Oscars, and Will Smith put his hands up on Chris Rock and slapped the rock out of Chris. And basically, Chris Rock has now addressed it. He's now addressed it. So we're going to address what we saw from our point of view.
Yeah, so I mean, we covered it a little bit. I was talking about the King Richard film that he actually won an Oscar for, Will Smith, that year. And a lot of things were happening in the Oscars that year that were kind of celebratory of blackness. I said to myself, was it the ancestors of the whites and the creators of Hollywood to sustain and maintain this kind of oppression against black people in terms of media being so powerful and film being one of the number one forces against us in history over the time period of representation and making us look like we were just never a part of history apart from slavery and the civil rights movement in America. And yeah, like, did the ancestors just pull out the stops for, just to attack everything black that day we woke up in the morning to see that was all over the news. The year that you win an Oscar for a role that's actually wholesome, very like enriching in terms of this is a dad who has created or been part of creating the most powerful duo sisters in Wimbledon, in sport, in tennis, a game that has never before that really been associated with blackness or black people. And King Richard was a film about that story, and it's we need to see it ourselves because it's that depiction of us in our greatness and what we can really be. And that's the year that Will Smith decides to slap Chris Rock, go up on the stage, and do that. Like I was saying, there was some MK mind control stuff going on there. Like he was not himself. Will Smith is so measured in everything. He's almost like a purist. He doesn't use the N word. He doesn't swear even, like, and he's just always been very aware of how he wants to represent us as a community, as a people, in a very big global platform that he has. Will Smith is like, it's like an MJ, it's like a Michael Jackson, in terms of his fame. He's a superstar, and like he's a superhero to many. So for him to do that act was, man, like it was terrible. So Chris Rock has responded a whole year later because obviously he's going to be hosting the event. So we want to, I think he's hosting. Yeah, I think he's hosting again. Yeah, I believe he's hosting. So I'll just double check that now on the old pad. But yeah, I believe he's hosting. So, but he did a live sketch. I don't know where it was actually. Netflix. Was it a Netflix special? Netflix. In response, and he's roasted Will Smith's wife, and he has gone in on Will Smith through his wife, and through just cussing as he does in that cutthroat way. So, what's your thoughts on it, Nat? Because I've got.
Well. Yeah, what did he call it? This is special. The special is called it's right on the tip of my tongue, but even that's lost me right now. The special, he called it something to do with your temper, and it's something that a lot of people are doing right now, actually, which is selective outrage. That's what he's called it. Selective outrage. We see this a lot on social media, actually. Selective outrage, where people are pick and choose what they're angry about, and that's what he's called his special. And apparently, he's in the special. He's addressed the white supremacists that stormed the capital of Washington D.C. But the bit that has gone viral, the clip that has gone viral and going around, is as Stella was saying, him getting slapped. And I found it quite funny. He's a comedian. He does what he does. And so there's a couple jokes in there, and he basically owned a slap in terms of his physicality and stuff. But then he proceeded to go in on Will and Jada, and he basically the essence of what he was saying is that Will's a bitch. That's basically what he was saying. And for me, I'm like, this was kind of inevitable. People were waiting for this moment to come. It did take a year to do so, but people were waiting for Chris Rock's next stand-up. They were waiting for him to respond. That's what they were waiting for, and he's responded in a way that I kind of expect. So I'm not surprised. But with us two, we're Pan-Africans. Obviously, we talk about Pan-Africanism all the time, and we talk from a Pan-African standpoint. So we're about unity, and it's a shame that basically there's going to be a long way to go for them to. And Will Smith did slap him in front of millions of people, and then proceeded to swear at him after that point. So I'm like, whenever someone gets violated in any kind of way, then their reaction is always secondary. So I'm just saying, I think basically Chris Rock's stand up or whatnot it was what everyone was expecting anyway. He didn't do or say anything that is surprising at all, really, to be honest.
No, he didn't. But my annoyance is with the fact that Jada is getting it again. Like, it's just like, even throughout the whole thing with the slap, like, people were saying she was doing juju on Will, and like, it was, at first he laughed and then he looked at her, and then that's where he decided to be like, and it's like, it's still his decision. It's still his choice that he made to go up and do that. I didn't see her go up to him and be like, you better slap the man. Do you know what I mean? It's between Will and Chris. I don't like the fact that Jada's name is being brought in, and in such a derogatory way. He's calling her a bitch, essentially. He's calling both of them bitches, but like, I'm already not one for calling our black people the N-word or the B-word. Like, it's so disrespectful. Like, and so for me, that's taken away the righteousness that he does have to go for Will. Like, I think he has every right to go for Will, and he can be cutthroat with Will. And there's so many jokes you can say on Will, like, but he's done it in a way that's actually the whole premise of why he got slapped in the first place. He's almost saying like, well, you haven't, I still am going to do the things that you slapped me for, basically. Do you know what I mean? I'm still going to go for your wife. I'm still going to put Jada's name in my mouth. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I just feel like, it does perpetuate the same kind of energy. And obviously now it's like coming like battle comics or battle stars in the battle rap game. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with how he's come for Jada. I do think he had the right to come for Will, but I just feel like she's collateral damage, and I don't think it's fair when she's already clearly dealing with a lot, and that's something to consider. Just being a human being, like, that's something to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really share Stella's view on this, because I'm like, well, it's what it is type thing. His whole point in the joke was like, everyone was dissing, and this is a reflection of society from my point of view. My point of view is very nuanced in this. Society, there was so many people that were cussing out on Jada and Will, and going for Jada and Will. This, in terms of, I'm like, Chris Rock kind of has a point in terms of the selective outrage, because I'm not sure if it was Mike Tyson, or if it was The Rock, or if it was Kevin Hart, or Dave Chappelle, or if it was those different types of personalities, or Jay-Z, if they threw a little like joke like that in the Oscars. I don't know if Will was going up there and putting his four fingers and thumb and palm on Chris Rock's face, or on their face. I don't know about that. I don't know. And so if you're gonna react like that to him, then where's your reaction to all those other people? Like, where's the reaction to 50 Cent? I swear 50 Cent said something. Where's the reaction? Where's the reaction to all of those different individuals who are, quote unquote, putting Jada's mouth Jada's name in their mouth, because a whole lot of people did. And Chris Rock said it wasn't the worst thing that people were actually saying at the time. So I'm just like, kind of, this, all of it is expected. I'm not surprised a bit, and certain things you just have to hold. Like if you uphold yourself in a certain kind of way, which Will and Jada do, especially Will Smith in terms of how you described him, he's held himself or he's presented himself in a certain kind of way for a very long time. He has to hold this. He has to hold what comes with it, and Jada has to hold it too. I mean, you're putting certain things out there, and it's like, what do you expect? What do you actually expect that in this society?
Hang on a minute. So does Chris Rock have to not hold it as well as a consequence of his being so bitchy about people in his jokes, like cutthroat jokes? What does he hold? Do you know what I mean? Like, isn't that another way you can just look at it? Because there's consequences to your words, clearly. If he's going to talk about people like that, should he have not an expectation of some people's reaction? Like someone actually near the time shared the clip of the skit in Nutty Professor, where the character that Dave Chappelle plays, the comedian, is just cutthroat to the point where he gets completely beaten up by Buddy Love. So is that what happened? Like, Will Smith was angry that you're going too far, mate. Like, he's still, even in the sketch, the recent one, he's brought up the 2016 incident in terms of he got asked by Jada apparently to boycott alongside them because they were saying, they're ignoring black stars or black films in the Oscars, so we need to boycott. And so he brings that back up as a reason to be annoyed. Like when you go, instead of doing that, you actually go for her on stage and say, "Oh, who is she anyway? What's she doing?" and kind of thing. Like he's really bitchy and catty, and he's got issues. And I'm saying, based on what you've just said, it's consequences. Then if that's how we're living, then surely he should face the consequences of his mouth and his jokes and the things that he puts out there as well. No.
Well, to be fair, he did say he held it. He's not going to no Oprah, no girl. So he said, "Boy, I took it like Pacquiao." That's what he said. So he's holding it. But I'm saying, like I said before, where's the anger and outrage for 50? I'm just saying, Chris Rock, this position is different from those other characters. So there's automatic thinking that if he runs up on 50 Cent, what's going to happen? Well, the least that's going to happen with him if he does it to 50 is that there's going to be like a relentless barrage of Instagram posts that is just going to be gunning, and it's going to be for years. Like that's what would happen if he went in a certain kind of way. But slapping a character like that, or slapping the other characters that I've mentioned, no, it's not like. So basically, if it is a thing of like, we can't take comedians' jokes as well, and Chris Rock is not the worst. There's all kinds of comedians that say whatever about whoever, rago, and people not running up on them and slapping them in the face. So I don't think there's any kind of justification for Will to do that on the basis of Chris Rock throwing shots at Jada. And what he said, he didn't say, oh, Jada called him up and said, oh yeah, they're doing XYZ against black people, so therefore can you boycott? He said, my husband is not being nominated for this particular film. That's what he said. And so he's like, wow, what, I'm supposed to just not work because your husband's not been nominated? And my thinking was like, if you're going to hold that ground, and you're going to ask people to boycott with you, my thing is that then you shouldn't be at the Oscars again. I don't understand why you can hold such a ground of boycotting the Oscars 1 year, and then the next following year or the year after you're back at the Oscars, or you boycott in 2016 but you're back there in 2022 receiving an award, and it's a big thing to you. Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Either, like, what are you boycotting it for in the first place? Are we joking? Is it a joke? Is the whole boycott thing just a little laughing thing? And or like, please just nominate me, and that's the extent of it? Okay, we'll nominate you. Then that's the extent of dealing with racism with the Oscars. And we in this channel, we've spoken about the Oscars before in episodes, and our standpoint on it. I'm telling you right now, yeah, if I get nominated for any of those things, you will not see me there. Like they say in something how the world shifts and something translates and something like that. If I get nominated for something like that, you will not see me there. Yeah, I will not be there. It's bonfire. That's the enemy. That's it. Straight. I'm not going to be bonfired. And actually, I want the little golden thing that is a replica of African, ancient African symbolism anyway. And then on top of that, the whole reason why it exists is through Birth of a Nation, which is a racist film. And they haven't addressed it. They have not addressed it. They haven't addressed racism whatsoever. But we bow down to being anointed by them. I don't understand why we do that. So I don't understand. So if Jada and Will are talking about boycott 1 year, then where is the integrity? Where is the conviction behind that if you're just going to appear there the next time?
So shout out to the Smiths, because I saw that Kaba Kameen has posted a picture of Will Smith's son, S-U-N, Jaden Smith, with him. And apparently the two sons are working together, and dad is working on a project. So the Smiths are getting something right. Also, the fact that Jada Smith has recently produced or been part of the production team for the Queen series on Netflix, the African Queen series on Netflix. We covered in Jinga last week on our podcast. If you didn't see it, check it out. And yeah, so big up for them for the good works they're doing. Like I said, it's a shame that that whole mess meant that it was overshadowing the positive stuff that is going on. I hope they do kind of work it out. Let us know your thoughts and comments on some of the things that we have said today regarding the whole incident. And we're going to move on to the next subject, which is...
Yeah, so quickly just to say, like, the mainstream media and what they choose to focus on, and the immaturity of the society means that certain levels of conversations are not able to be happen. So with what I'm saying, it's not binary. Mine is nuance. And because there's no human being on this earth that should be placed above criticism, and there's no human being that should be placed above or praises above them either. Like, but we're human beings, and so that we should treat it like that. But we're not able to have certain conversations because the mainstream media directs a certain expected behavior and how society should respond. So with mainstream media, we wanted to talk about Russell Brand because he appeared on MSNBC, and basically his whole thing was in his spiel was to demolish the hypocrisies of mainstream media. So basically, what you have in America, in particular, is the pro-Democrat side will point fingers, and then the pro-Republican side will point fingers. They both point fingers at each other, and the Democrat side will point fingers at Fox, for example, and say Fox is not doing good by the people. They're propagandists, all this kind of stuff, right? And Russell Brand is like, that's the pot calling the kettle black. He's basically saying that's the meme of the Spider-Man pointing at the Spider-Man. Like, it's you're the same. You're the same, and that's how I see things as well. I see things like, don't be a hypocrite. You've got corporate entities behind you that basically dictates the kind of information that you're allowed to put out, and a lot of them know Wagwan. They already know what they're doing and what they signed up for. So if it is against the agenda to reveal certain truths, they will do whatever they can to hide those truths or slander the truth, knowing what the truth actually is. That is all of those mainstream media entities, including here as well. None of these entities, uphold any real standard of journalism or truth. And Russell Brand was broke it all down.
He did it in front of, what's that show, the Letterman show, one of them late night show things in America. And I was impressed with the fact that he was able to actually be on there. I don't know how much more he's going to get the opportunity to do that. He seems to be being given a lot of bly. He's got a huge following on YouTube, and he's been pointing out all the realities of the vaccine, in terms of the lockdown, like just getting stats and statistics and facts put out there to do with the pharmaceutical companies and corporations, etc., etc. And the media that is bought and owned to put out the rhetoric that is going to move large masses of people in a certain direction because they want them to follow suit and just obey, essentially. Remember those hats that you see our young kids wearing? Obey, like that's literally what they want everyone to be in that kind of mindset. And so him pointing it out was very powerful. He's so succinct and has a very clear and precise way of delivering. So the other representative of what station was it? He was representing MSNBC was there and defending their right to be cussing Fox, which has always been the battle, is like Fox against whatever, like right, extreme right. But then they all band together and have the same information that they're putting out, really, and they all are going to protect their backers, their financial backers, the corporations that are behind them, who pay them to maintain a certain rhetoric for them, make them look good, or cover up any incidences that do take place and unfold. Don't talk about that. You can talk about that, or you can highlight this, but not that. So he's saying like you're the same, and the guy's like well, give me a specific time, date, example, give me this, and all of that kind of typical kind of the way that politics do it as well. Where they just argue a point by arguing a point. You're not actually. He's not going to confirm nor deny, but he's going to say, give me a specific, thinking that Russell Brand's not going to be able to land. And he does. Of course he does, because he's got receipts. He's got receipts for how many years he's been doing research on you. You don't even know. You're not even prepared. Bruv, here's one example. and he talked about the Joe Rogan coverage of how a specific drug was said to be bad in terms of the whole outcome of alternatives to the vaccine being the only thing that was being offered. And yeah, he couldn't come back from that, could he? That was it. And he's just like, at the end of the day, bruv, like, don't be talking about this person, that person, when you're both being paid by these corporations to just put out a certain message and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it was great. Russell Brand, good on your mate. Yeah, keep it going. Like, let's put the truth out there, and people, you've got choices. Like, it's up to you. If you're going to listen to people when they say, oh, the other variant is coming and this, that, and you're going to go for it. Enough of the truth is out there. Everything is about choice in life, and enough of the truth is out there for you to make a decision based on, facts and not propaganda. Essentially, we all know what propaganda is, and it does exist, and it's all coming out. It's all coming out now. So we can move on to the other bit of news, which is
yeah. So you just mentioned it. So basically, there's a thing, people being classified as conspiracy theorists and such, and when those quote-unquote conspiracy theorists, and they're ridiculed in that moment, but when the truth comes out, then everyone ignores the fact that certain people were saying what came out later. At the time they were saying that, we were among those people that were saying that, and it's not no mystic meg thing, it's not no psychic powers or anything. It's basically you doing your own due diligence and doing your own research to find out what is actually happening, and not having trust. And in terms of choice, we make a choice between who we choose to believe or not, and the reasons why we do. And a lot of us choose to submit to the authoritarian figures or the authoritarian dictators of our world, essentially. And then there's there's others of us who don't. And this is that fundamental difference, that fundamental choice right there, means that you're going to be aware of certain things before it is revealed in the mainstream. So that might be, in this case, a year or two or three. Things are coming out now that people were talking about back then, or in some cases it could be 50 years or 100 years, like it literally depending on when these informations come out. But at the time, there's always people that know Wagwan, and they are saying what it is. So when it comes to these 100,000 plus WhatsApp messages that have been leaked, and some of the messages is like, well, again, for people that were aware, it's like, this is what we knew, this is what we were saying. So when Matt Hancock it's been revealed that he was like, when do we deploy the new variant? This will scare the pants off the people. Not words verbatim, but basically that was like, he's talking with a media advisor in WhatsApp conversations about how to scare the people to behave in a way that the government wants them to. And when do we deploy the new variant, in terms of when does the media scare people with a new variant so that the people can do what the government is asking them to do. Those type of games that cost people's livelihoods and cost certain people their lives, right? And cause all kinds of implications. These are the things that we were seeing back then. Certain one of us, we were seeing those things back then. We were seeing it because we do not trust them. We do not trust them. So every single thing that they do is questionable. And to be honest, because of the way they're placed in society, they get, it seems to me, it's like infinite leeway. And because there's no power to really punish them appropriately for their misdeeds, that leeway is also allowed. But if those individuals were personal to us, and those individuals would be proven to lie upon lie upon lie, then you would question every single thing that they do. You wouldn't be like, oh, well, they lie about this, but then with some things we give them benefit of the doubt for. So essentially, everything that's coming out now is what some of us were saying back then. And I just hope that this is not focused on these individuals in particular, and more see it as an issue with those people in positions of governance, and the toxic thinking and the toxic makeup that allows people to hold those positions, and what they do with that position once they're there. I hope that makes people think in those means. So when there's another lie, or the lies that they are doing, perpetuating now, and then the lies that they will do in the future, we're not all a lot of us are not just falling for it based upon our choice to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I agree. It's an opportunity here to kind of learn from what's actually the reality of what's going on. Obviously, this is why the Chris Rock thing and all those other things, timing-wise, as distraction, because this is actually major news, like world, global major news. To say 100,000 WhatsApp messages have been leaked, and they're just Priti Patel's in there, you know, it's Boris, it's all of the usual suspects acting suspiciously, but it's all there. It's like it's all out in the open. So really truly, there's no excuse if anything else occurs, and they just want us to pattern ourselves in a kind of fearful way, listen, obey, follow the law. This is the new technology that we're going to use to essentially control us. Now, we've seen the evidence is actually out, and big up and shout out to all the whistleblowers out there, because you do a very important thing when you reveal the truth, when your soul speaks through you, and you're just like, no, I'm not gonna sit on this piece of information that affects millions and millions and millions of people in the world. Like, no, I'm gonna talk the truth. So big up to all the whistleblowers. That's the road to go down whenever you've got that opportunity, or something that is gonna affect and afflict so many people's lives. Just you got to put that whistle. Shout out to them. It's not easy. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, all these people are living in like very precarious situations right now, as we know. So, yeah, whoever leaked those WhatsApps, and didn't sit on them, yeah, that's the way to do it, honestly. But yeah, you're right. We're in a situation now where we've got access to the truth. So, tell us what your thoughts are on that. You've got to say, like, were you someone that was before kind of believing everything that was going on, and stuck by the law and followed what you were supposed to do, got your vaccine, got all of that kind of stuff, or were you someone that was staying away from it the whole time and stayed strong? But either way, like, want to hear from you in the comments. Do comment below, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please do hit that subscribe button, and it goes a long way.
So the final thing we want to talk about today is the Billboard top 50 rappers this year. As ones and ones will be aware, is the 50th year for hip hop. There's a lot of conversations that is going to be around hip hop, and Billboard has sparked a conversation as continued. It started 2 weeks ago when they revealed their final list, I believe, and it sparked different conversations. Melly Mel, the rapper behind the message, for Melly Mel of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. And he weighed in, and he was basically saying that Eminem is only top 5, or is only 5 because he's white. I mean, I don't know why people have an issue with him saying that. It's the truth. Everyone knows that. His commercial success, he himself in his own bars and lyrics has attributed his commercial success to the fact that he's white. So Melly Mel's not saying nothing, but and also he's questioning Jay-Z's position as number 1, and he believes that Busta Rhymes is number 1, and Stella and I were agreeing. I mean, before we go into that, is there something you want to share?
Okay, yeah. So you know what? I just big up for Melly Mel's point of view and putting it out there regarding Eminem. Eminem, I was a big fan of when I was younger. Like when my eyes were kind of like crusted over and my pineal gland was crusted over. I didn't really see through the magic spells and trickery that was going on. Like I just fell for all the commercialism that was sold to me, and I understand the game a whole lot more. And throughout the years, I kind of like analysed, in terms of hip hop, my fandom, like things that actually do resonate with me. And it was a long time ago I fell off Eminem, to be honest. Like, wasn't really bringing anything to my life in terms of substance and content. Like, fair enough, I do think he's a great artist. But there's ones for me that I rank far higher, and I do see, because I think he is going to suffer from his whiteness in that sense of gaining that full wholesome respect that the true hip hop fans are going to be able to sort of bestow upon him. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm saying as in Melly Mel's is going to say that, right? Yeah, and it's because he has benefited from his whiteness. It's just a fact. They're just going to have, it's just something that cannot be denied. Like, it just is what it is. Like, no matter what his talent is, it is still there. And because Melly Mel's and whoever gets access to seeing all the true talent, and he didn't really have to venture into other aspects. Like, we talk about HOPSIN all the time. HOPSIN, you can argue, is an Eminem baby. And babies tend to, outshine their masters eventually, right? HOPSIN comes out blazing out of the womb. Like, he's such a dope artist, but he would never get to the realm of an Eminem. Why? Because he's not white. That's the thing that we're talking about here. It's a really big deal, and then when you see and understand all the people that Eminem himself studied, we talk about cannabis, we talk about REDMAN, and he does, he does give them this, and he does talk, he does say that these are the people. When you talk about not Papoose, but the other one, oh my God, Eminem is like literally such a big fan of his as well. Oh, I can't think of the song that he's got. Anyway, it will come to me. Like, there's so many, basically. And then even within Eminem's own crew, like, I know that they will defend him, and they should. They know his talent and stuff like that. But he goes, Many Males goes, oh, Royce the 6ix9ine. Like, is he taking the mic? I don't know if he's taking the piss. But even, like, when you look at battle rappers whose talents are just absolutely, like, you know, out of this world in terms of the intellect, in terms of the, you know, the bars and all of that kind of stuff, yeah. That crew that Eminem is with, you know, they're all Eminems. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the ability, their craftsmanship, and their dedication to it, the way that they can rap. But they just won't have, they would never be able to be an Eminem, because, and that's what Many Males is trying to say. It's like, you can't take away his whiteness being there. Like, that whole reference to Elvis that he has in some of his skits is a deep one. It's a deep one, because when you think about rock and roll, you know what I mean? And who became the face of it. And that's really the aspiration for this industry right here, right now. They want Eminem to be the rap god. They want him to take the ownership and the king crown. And really, he should bow out. He should know that that is just not on. You know what I mean? If he's a true fan of hip hop, and he's a true person, it's like a bow out thing. It's like, I know I'm not the best, but I know that I could be given that crown because of the access, the doors that have been swung open for me in some next level, and the way that, my skin tone does mean that is what it is. Like, the game is that. It's rigged in that sense. So, yeah, it's a deep one for me. But yeah, we'll go on to the charts. I think we're going to stop there. I'm going to press pause, and then we're going to go on to talk about the actual chart itself now.
Yeah, so basically, the Billboard produced a best rappers list, top 50. They focused on North America, which irked me, and because they focused on North America, Slick Rick was omitted from that, which was also very strange, because most people don't think of Slick Rick as a British artist. And actually, if he's considered British, then we over here have got to hold him in greater standing than we actually do when it comes to people that have done great stuff in music. From here, no one talks about Slick Rick. No one talks about Slick Rick. The only people you hear about who talk about Slick Rick are the legends of hip hop in America. They're the ones who talk about Slick Rick. So I found it very strange that they chose to just focus on North America. I guess those with passports, I suppose, because he moved over to there as a child. So I don't actually know how they done that. But basically, Drake is North American, as he is from Canada, so he was included in the list. But those from the Caribbean, and those from here and elsewhere were not included. So I found that very peculiar. You're doing the top 50 rappers of all time, and you don't have Slick Rick on there based on the technicality. It's mad. But that also gives the opportunity to talk about, like, I do feel now surely we should have wider conversations than just United States of America based artists anyway. So even if you are including Slick Rick, like I'm saying, he's not really considered British, or MF Doom is not really considered British either. These artists. So should the conversations not include should it not include rappers from here, or those that rap on different sounding tracks or with different dialects and different accents? Shouldn't that not include those on the continent, those in Asia, those on the Caribbean, those in South America? Should we not have a wider conversation now to broaden our horizons? In any case, that was one issue. The other issue was the top 5 in itself. We spoke about Eminem and Many Mel's issue with that, and it's like, well, yeah, he's right. Like, there's no real argument there, really and truly. You can have your justifications and your reasons and all that kind of stuff. Eminem is a great rapper. Like, he is a great rapper, but his commercial success is basically tied in with the fact that he's white. Like, it's the truth. So for us, we are highlighting the difference between favorite and what objective. And entities like Billboard need to be objective, an objective list, or as objective as possible based upon measures. So the one that they highlight the most, or seem to highlight most, is commercial success. But in commercial success, there is industry politics and manipulation of the market to ensure certain artists sell more than others, and that goes beyond one's own ability as an artist, and that has to be considered too. So when it's all said and done, from an objective standpoint, Stella and I, we agree that Busta Rhymes should be number one from an objective standpoint, and we're challenging you viewers who are watching this, our Out of Noise family, if you feel that there is any rapper that as an overall skill set can challenge Busta Rhymes, please let us know, because we cannot figure who that is.
There is no one. Listen, there was one person that I could mention who could, but they're not even, I don't know where they are in the list, actually, in the top 50. They're not even there, and that's Tech 9. strange music. And that's because of the similarity in terms of showmanship. Like a performance, when you go to the live, you are going to be entertained. And on top of that, the kind of unbelievable talent in terms of how they can do the fast rap, slow rap, they can sing, they can do like so much with their voice, their cadence, everything like that. That would be the only person. And because of the very politics you're talking about, they're not in the same arena, because unfortunately Tech9 didn't go down the same kind of route of being officially signed as Busta Rhymes has. So there's not that ability for them being a versus anyway, because, you know, even though Tech9 is immensely famous, there's a lot of people that are like, who the hell are you talking about right now when I've mentioned him? But, you know, check him out. He's absolutely awesome for all those people that love hip hop and rap and things like that there. So yeah, and guess where Busta Rhymes is on the list? He's number 33. That is insane. That's insanity. So yeah, we're gonna go into our own so just to say, I do agree with what Melly Mel said in terms of there is no, and you just said now, there is no person that could go up against Busta Rhymes. There is none. Like, in terms of all those 32 that are before him, none of them could battle him. That's kind of insane. Like, how is he number 33 if he's in a versus is going to murder everyone else that's before him? That makes no sense. No, metaphorically speaking, he's not going to physically and literally murder anyone. But yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, with his words and with his skills and with his talent and with his showmanship and with his swag and with just everything that he's going to deliver on that stage, and the hit factory that he is, like, it's insane. Like, hit after hit after hit after hit. Busta Rhymes,
yeah. That's it, right? Really, Melly Mel is an OG as well. Melly Mel is foundation of this thing, yeah. And so his opinions should carry greater weight than any Billboard thing, like, in reality. And I feel like honor, respect of elders is something that is very important in our culture, right? And when that's lost, or when you uphold another institution or over and above people who should really formulate the institution, in this case of hip hop, you know, there's issues there. There's an issue there, and it brings about broader questions in terms of who dictates our conversations, who dictates the basis of our conversations that matter to us, in terms of they put out this list, that's their list or whatnot, and now we're responding to that list. I'll be interested to know who Melly Mel and the likes of those foundational figures, who would be their top 50, essentially. I would be interested. But yeah, from an objective standpoint, Busta Rhymes. Ain't no one touching Busta Rhymes.
Okay, so who's your top 5?
So my favourite top 5 right now, currently, and it's interchangeable, but which is why I use the word current. And also the reasons why it's interchangeable is because it's based upon how I'm feeling in my point in time in life. So who's connecting with me in a certain time. And also, in terms of favourite, I'm emphasising the word favourite because it is subjective, right? So I'm highlighting the difference. So from an objective standpoint, Busta Rhymes is number 1. But from a favourite standpoint, my top 5 is Black Thought, it's Killer Priest, it's Cannabis, it's Lauryn Hill, and it's Nas. That's my current top 5. I think if I go deeper and go into the depths of things and really think about what different artists meant to me at different points in my life and then assess it properly, then it might look slightly different. But yeah, right now, off the top of my head, that's what I'm going to go for. What about you, Stella B?
For me, I'm going to go for number 1 is Nas. Yeah. Number 2, Busta Rhymes. Number 3, Kendrick Lamar. Number 4, Ty. And number 5, Tupac. That's going to be my top 5. Again, I agree with you. It's kind of interchangeable. There's so many different stages in your life where people have had impact. I wanted to just mention with Nas why I adore him so much, because of his commitment and dedication to his conscious rap. Like, and I'm going to put him in that realm where I know a lot of people don't really like that title and all of that kind of stuff, and everyone's trying to turn around the word woke and make it negative. It's positive. It's a great thing to be aware of your environment and to be conscious when they're trying to make you sleep. Sleep is the cousin of death. So yeah, in terms of Nas, he has committed fully to being a conscious rapper, like a street poet, someone who doesn't glamorize all of the things that are going on. When you think about when he's singing about street dreams, he's reflecting on the realities that are in there. And I know there's other rappers that do that, but he does it so well and has been so committed to that for forever. Like, for as long as anyone has known of Nas, he has been, you know, he has been consistent in that message. So you've got to give him ratings for that. And also the NIGGER or a video project changed my life. Like, literally slapped me around the face in a lot of ways, educated me. I learned about more history, deeper history with Ivan van Sertima, and he was just putting all the jewels inside the songs and like letting me know, giving the clues and giving the hints of where to go and find the knowledge. And I think he suffered, but he played the long game. He was in it for the long game. It wasn't like, let me just get immediate fame, immediate success, and that's it. It's like at the time of suffering, it's kind of like, okay, we're not gonna, people on the radio are gonna talk about, oh, you choose whack beats, this, that. Like, you know, he's got a project with Damian Marley. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he is dedicated to this thing. Like, and no one can deny it. Like, longevity wise, if you are gonna be like, oh, he's really a this, or he's really Illuminati, or all the stuff that people accuse Nas of, it's like, okay, he's talking about African pride within his lyrics since Wade, where he's got Egyptian pharaoh on the front covers of his album cover. Like, he's been doing that for a very long time. Like, even that song, even songs that he features on, that the song he had with will.i.am, where they're talking about the ancient pyramids, and in the video they're depicting us as ancient gods. Like, he's been committed to that message from day. So yeah, that's my reason why Nas is my number one, in terms of when you're a rapper and you've got music that's going to last forever because of your musicality and all that kind of stuff, and but your message, your footprint in the world that's going to leave. Like, if you're saying to the kids, I know I can be what I want to be, and all those kind of if I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be. Like, and then he's giving warnings like, don't do this. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. Like, people call it preachy and all that kind of stuff these days. Like, you know, it's like, no, it's not. It's like, it's just important to do your MJ shit, like to be on it. Like, if you've got a message for the world, be authentic with it. Don't play the game all the way through. So that's why I'm committed to Nas being my number one. But Busta Rhymes, in terms of like entertainment, I've seen both of them live. I've seen Nas like maybe 4 times or 3 times actually, and I've seen Busta just once. And I would love to go again to see Busta Rhymes, because that was a show, man. Like, that whole energy is unmatchable. He can leave you all Busta Rhymes for like 5 months afterwards. Like, it's a resonance. And I've seen Jay-Z live as well, and he's also got the magic, but the Busta Rhymes magic is a very specific magic. It's a specific one. There's no other one that's doing it like him. So yeah, that's my top 5 anyway.
Yeah, that's our top 5, and yeah. I mean, yeah. What's yours? Okay, yeah, I said it already. Like, who do you reckon can test Busta Rhymes in terms of objective number 1 stance? And yeah, who's your top 5? Please comment below. My top 5 is based upon, literally, as I said, based upon how I'm feeling right in the moment. Like, Black Thought is incredible MC, and Black Thought talks on all the different the topics that connect in terms of African Galia and just his skills. Like, and he can sing as well. It's not fair. Like, it's not actually fair, the abilities that he's actually got. So he's like, you're not heard.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, Black Thought is another king that should be up there. Like, you know, he could easily be my number 1 as well, but or my number 6 in the mode of what you're talking about, because yeah, you have to shove a few people out. But yeah, Black Thought is incredible. Again, very committed to the message, and like, yeah, know thyself message is there for sure, and he is incredible as an MC.
Yeah, so who's yours? And basically, this is gonna come up a lot. We're gonna talk about this a lot because it is 50th year recognition of hip hop. We're big hip hop fans, and there's a lot of rappers that we're around personally that are incredible MCs from London. And you know, the issue that we have is that the recognition of artists here, black artists in general here, in terms of global recognition, is a big issue. And when it comes to black music here, the contributors here, they're often overlooked, and it's a big issue. But it's a continual conversation. But for now, is there anything else you want to say, Stella B?
Yeah, just thanks so much for tuning into the Out of Noise podcast, and do follow, like, share this video. Tell a friend to come next week or come this week, and check out what we're talking about. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Buy us a coffee in the description below.
See you next time.